Maybe there's enough on there.
All good? Ready, Jason? Okay. Ready, everybody?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I'd like to call the regular Borough Council meeting of August 15th, 2022 to order. This meeting has been properly advertised in the Home News Tribune of January 7th, 2022, according to Public Law 1975, Chapter 231. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Councilman Neubauer.
Hi.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Here.
Councilman Peretti.
Here.
Councilman Potter.
Here.
And Councilman Revelinsky.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Please join me in a moment of silence and salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we'll move on to the approval of minutes from July 18th, 2022. I have a motion and a second.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that the minutes be approved as typed.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Potter, second by Councilman Peretti. Any comments or corrections?
I'll be abstaining due to absence.
Okay. Hearing no other corrections, well, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstain?
Aye.
And any no? Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is comments from the audience. If any member of the public wishes to speak on any of the resolutions, please identify yourself to the clerk and say your name and address for the record. These comments are limited to resolutions listed on the agenda. Seeing none, I will close audience comments and go on to the bills and claims. Will the clerk please read by title only the bill resolution 181-2022?
Resolution 181, 2022 is authorizing the payment of bills and claims and statements against the Borough of Milltown in the total amount of $6,262,014.05.
We've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move that this resolution be adopted.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Revelinsky, second by Councilwoman O'Donnell. Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Councilman Neubauer.
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Aye.
Councilman Peretti.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
And Councilman Revelinsky.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, we'll go on to the introduction of resolutions. When voting on resolutions, all matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and, having been reviewed by the Borough Council, will be enacted by one motion. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any council member, and if so removed, will be treated as a separate matter. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by a certification of availability of funds. Are there any questions, or does anyone want to pull any resolution from the consent agenda?
Mayor, I'd like to pull 200, 2022.
I'm sorry, Margaret, what number?
200.
200. Anyone else? Okay. So will the clerk please read the consent agenda?
Whereas pursuant to the rules of council, the council may establish a consent agenda for any regular or special meeting, and whereas the borough clerk has posted a consent agenda for this meeting. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and borough council of the Borough of Milltown, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, that the consent agenda previously prepared by the borough clerk be approved without the necessity of having the individual resolutions read by the borough clerk.
You heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move that this resolution be adopted.
Second.
Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
This is a motion to approve resolutions 182 through 2001 with the absence of 200. Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Councilwoman Neubauer.
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
I need to abstain from 197, 2022, but otherwise aye.
Councilman Peretti?
Aye.
Councilman Potter?
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Will the clerk please read Resolution 200-2022 by title?
That's okay. 200-2022 is a resolution providing for salaries to be paid to borough appointed officials and employees in 2022.
You've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Madam
the
Mayor, make a
resolution.
motion that this resolution be approved. as
Second.
typed.
Have a motion by Councilman Potter, second by Councilman Peretti. Any discussion?
I asked for this to be pulled specifically so we could have a discussion about how the mayor and council stipends end up as part of this salary discussion. So is there someone who's present who can share more about that?
So to my knowledge, Margaret and Jeanette can back me up, at several years ago, I'm not sure what the year was, there was a resolution passed that the mayor and council will become borough employees and get a salary. Do you have the history on that, Jeanette?
Well, what I can tell you is that you do have salaries, and past practices has been that your increases follow along with other increases that borough employees get. So that's why it was included in this resolution.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so for those in the audience, the borough employees get a small stipend, and they're, with the approval of the rest of the employees, it's a small increase, very,
It's nominal.
nominal percentage. We did discuss, and, there was an option of removing the increase for the borough and council. However, I was a little concerned about that because I don't want to act on that separately. Should, in 5 or 10 years, somebody comes in and says, hey, let's give the borough and council, $25,000 or, $10,000 or something. So I think it's safer to have it tied to the smaller increase that's going on with the borough employees. And, as I said to the council, I think they deserve it. It's a very small increase, but they work really hard, and I think that, a nominal increase that pairs up with what all the fantastic workers here is more than fair. So that was the reason for the resolution.
Well, thank you for clarifying.
I just want to add, for anyone watching at home who might not have a copy of the resolution, Madam Mayor, you got the biggest salary increase here, which, by my quick math, looks like $64 per year. So just in case anyone at home is wondering how much this is,
Thank you.
it's a whopping $64.
And negative 55 cents an hour.
I'll try not to spend it all in one place. But what we all talked about, what we get input, I think we've all sort of agreed that we're public servants. We would do this for nothing. Now, that said, if anybody wanted to do a resolution to not get paid, that's totally fine. But with any increase or a lot with what we get, we are all careful to go to all our Milltown's fundraisers. We make donations, so any increase will go right back into the town anyway. So as you know, we have many organizations that we support, and just this little extra bump will support them even more. But it's certainly something that anyone could take a look at in the future. I don't think it's going to dissuade anyone from running, or, the big bucks are not going to say, hey, I want that job. I want that job, because it comes out to about a nickel an hour. Anyway, thanks, Margaret. So now, any other discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
This is for Resolution 200-2022. Council President Zambrana?
Aye.
Councilwoman Newbauer?
Aye.
Councilman O'Donnell?
Aye.
Councilman Peretti?
Aye.
Councilman Potter?
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to council reports. We'll start with the Department of Public Safety. Councilman Dave Potter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have 3 reports tonight. First report is from the Milltown Fire Department. Monthly report for July 2022. There were 3 drills, 1 meeting, 16 fire calls, 6 special assignments, 4 work details, totaling 30 incidents. Some general information: the department coordinated with 7 other fire departments to cover the 4th of July fireworks, both at the park and around the town. As we all know, this is a big, time-consuming effort, and I want to thank our membership, some who spent over 14 hours working that day to ensure a safe celebration for the borough, so thank you very much. New Car 81 was purchased and picked up from the Herbertsville Fire Department in Brick. The American Rescue Plan firefighter grant was written by Assistant Chief Fama and turned into the BA's office to be submitted to the state. They're seeking a maximum amount of $75,000 to purchase turnout gear, which will help defray the cost of the department's gear replacement in the upcoming years. Training. They had a relay drill on this past weekend, the 14th, with 4 of the departments, including members of Middlesex County Large Diameter Task Force at our firehouse for a PowerPoint lecture followed by an exercise in front of the Regal Cinemas in North Brunswick. As far as vehicle maintenance, Car 81 estimated coming for paint and striping. The car needs an alignment and had the radio swap from Car 83. Engine 72 had an exhaust fixed and had its preventive maintenance done while at Seagrave. Also, parts were ordered to fix the faulty LED valve indicator lights at the and the scene lights will be replaced with LED ones. Current lights are broken, are non-functional. Annual pump hose and aerial testing is scheduled for August and September. There were 23 SCBA bottles that went out for hydraulic testing, along with 6 storage cylinders. And members are always needed. Candidates interested in joining the Milltown Fire Department are encouraged to stop by the firehouse Monday nights at 6:30 or email joinmilltownfire@gmail.com. Madam Mayor, my second report is from the Milltown Rescue Squad. For July 2022, total calls 103. 66 of them were in Milltown, 14 were on the New Jersey Turnpike, and 23 were mutual aid. The squad just finished providing EMS services for their 84th annual Middlesex County Fair. Our rehab trailer was set up as a first aid station, and our members provided coverage each night. We hope everyone who attended had a great time. As the heat wave continues, though it was nice today, remember to stay hydrated, dress appropriately, and limit outdoor exposure to prevent heat-related illness. And anyone who is interested in learning more about joining the rescue squad or becoming an EMT should email recruit@milltownrescuesquad.org to learn more. They're happy to answer any questions. Finally, Madam Mayor, my third report is from the Milltown Police Department. Between July 1st, 2022 and August 9th, 2022, police have responded to 1,365 calls for service. During this period, police conducted 105 radar details in numerous locations. Police made 141 motor vehicle stops during this period. 11 arrests were made, which included shoplifting, possession of drugs, and a simple assault. Police responded to 16 motor vehicle accidents, which included minor injuries. Due to increase in property damage, littering, and otherwise unruly behavior at our borough parks, all parks will continue to close at dusk, with the exception of permitted usage. The Milltown Police Department is currently accepting applications for full or part-time records clerk and secretary, part-time crossing guards, and part-time police dispatchers. Applications are available online at www.milltownnj.org or in person at the Milltown Borough Clerk's Office. Please continue to report suspicious activity, traffic concerns, and non-emergent type calls to 732-828-1100. Emergency and life-threatening calls, use 911. Residents are reminded to report any concerns and/or complaints by using the official borough website or by calling the Milltown Police directly. The Milltown Police Department does not monitor and will not react, reply, or respond to comments or complaints posted on any third-party social media sites. Thank you for our cooperation and enjoy your summer, Chief Brian Kennelly. And Madam Mayor, it's with sadness to report on July 26th, Police Corporal Armando Rosario lost his son, Armando Mendito Rosario III, at the young age of 18 due to an automobile accident. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the Rosario family and the Milltown Police Department. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. That was very, very sad news, and God bless the boy and his family, and we send them our thoughts and prayers. May I ask a question about the grant? So first of all, thank you to Assistant Chief Fama for filling out that grant. When would we know if we got that turnout gear, do you know?
I was going to pass that to Jeanette.
Yes, so the deadline to file is actually tomorrow. We filed it last week.
Great.
And, yeah, so whatever, I know that there was an overwhelming response, so it's gonna take them a little bit of time to go through. So I would imagine a couple of months.
But as always, we're glad that somebody takes the time and effort to do that, because it doesn't hurt to
You
ask.
did a
for-
wonderful
for
job,
Yes.
you know, putting it all together.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great.
thank you, Assistant
Thank
Chief
you.
Fama.
Yep, appreciate it. All right, thanks, Dave. Next, we'll move on to the Department of Utilities, Councilman James Gray.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Starting with the electric utility, the substation was checked daily, and transformer containment pumps were checked. The operation of the transformer cooling fans was also checked because of the recent hot weather. An outage was reported on Highland Drive and Cortlandt Street. A fuse cutout for the transformer had failed due to the poor condition of the existing pole. A new pole, cutout, and transformer were all installed. An outage on Violet Terrace was caused by a faulty transformer. Crew members replaced the transformer with a new one. Due to the scarcity of electric materials, we will attempt to source parts and repair the faulty unit. The electric department is reviewing their inventory due to the difficult times, and some materials have lead times of 6 months to a year, so the inventory is under review and making plans to be replenished where needed. An outage was reported on Kearney Drive. A blown fuse was discovered and replaced. Another outage was reported at a house on South Brook. A broken service drop ended up being the cause. Crew members trimmed the trees in the path of the wires and made the necessary repairs. Department members have been working with CME and High Energy Electric to perform circuit analysis studies for the purpose of balancing our feeders. The borough's diesel generators installed in various facilities have been serviced this month. Several new homes are being built within the borough, and the electric department is working with contractors to plan new electrical services. Crew members installed new pole transformer and connected a new underground service for the LED ball field lighting project underway at Gloria Bradford Park. The utility department worked with the billing department to rectify billing issues and replace malfunctioning meters. One meter needed to be replaced. I'd like to remind the public that electrical meters need to be accessible to meter readers. Unfortunately, meter readers still encounter properties with locked gates that prohibit access. Please also trim vegetation in front of the meters that can cause estimated bills. However, there are other options. Our monthly reminder that residents can fill out their monthly reading cards and submit them to the billing department, or residents can take pictures of their electric and water meters and send them to the following email address: ahamm@milltownborough.com. That's aham@milltownborough.com. Cards are available at the billing office or can be delivered to your mailbox if you request them. Residents are also reminded that they are required to post a warning sign on any gates where a dog may be in the backyard. Now moving on to the water and sewer report. Along with the daily work orders, markouts, and emergency calls, the department has the following to report. A hydrant was replaced on the corner of South Main Street and West Lakewood, and another hydrant was placed on Durst Drive. Work has been completed at the Church Street pumping station for the cleaning of the wet wells. The department assisted the electric department with electrical repairs at Elkins Lane, and the property of Elkins Lane has a schedule to be cleaned up and shrubs trimmed. Root control for the sewers will be continuing as per the yearly schedule. Finally, please try and return the survey sent out concerning residential water services. It is very important to the borough that we compile our list, and we thank the residents who have already sent them back. I actually have a copy for those who haven't seen it yet. It's, again, just a short letter explaining where your water hookup is in your house, as well as some very simple pictures that show is the pipes in your house, particularly in your basement from your water hookup, Is it a color of a penny? Is it plastic? Is it a dull silver gray color? And it's simple yes, no's, with a couple questions on the back, and it includes a prepaid envelope that can be mailed back to the water department with the attention of Don Herman. So please, for those who haven't already, please send those back. It helps, it's helping the borough tally where work is going to be needed in the future around town. Finally, I have one committee report. I attended the historic preservation meeting that met on the July 28th. Along with the Boy Scouts, work is continuing on the Historical Society building. A steam box was being built to remove paint from the windowsills. We reviewed the rehabilitation plan proposal that was introduced at the prior council meeting, as well as discussed avenues of approach to possibly preserve the water tower and smokestack at the Ford Avenue property. The next meeting will be the fourth Thursday of August, and it will be meeting via Zoom. That Zoom link is found on the borough website. And that concludes my reports.
Thank you. James, well, what if people don't return their water for them? Are they gonna get a second notice, or how does that gonna work? Do you
I
know?
don't believe we have a second notice going out at this time. We do have,
Sorry.
what do you say? No, it's we don't have a second communication going out right now, but there's, as the water department goes out to replace meters that's scheduled all through town, the department will be checking themselves in addition to the residents checking. So this is not the be-all, end-all final list if the residents either A, get it wrong, or B, don't turn it back. So we do have plans to go back out, but this helps us consolidate our list much further ahead of time, and also gets us to be able to get the information to the state a lot earlier.
That's good. Excuse me, because I know that I have mine probably sitting in my,
We already know
Mail
about yours,
pile.
though. You're already on the list.
I know. For people like me that
Yeah.
As a,
And what's the status of the smart meters then?
So I know I can pass it down as well, but right now there's a little delay in the ordering. We did the ordering, the delay in the delivering. So we're waiting to get more, higher inventory. We have an inventory used, being saved for when there's emergencies and we have to do replacements.
Good.
So we don't have an inventory in stock right now to go back out and do proactive replacements, but we're just waiting on delivery for that.
That's good.
and I did speak with the vendor just last week, and we need to move to the second phase, which would be to put the radio on the meter. So we've been installing the meters.
Right.
So yes, with the supply chain shortages, they said by fourth quarter, they're hoping to be caught up with all of that.
That's
So, and then they'll be moving forward with the antenna placement
That's
in the
good.
coming months as well.
Great, perfect, thank you.
James, do you mind fielding a few more questions?
Sure.
Real quick, just first, do you know if the department is notating when they're replacing meters who has lead, copper, or other?
Yes. Yes, we have a master list that Ralph is primarily ultimately responsible for. That is for already actively. My house was one of those that meter was placed, and I was added to that list already. So there's proactive list as well as the circular list.
I just thought that might be good for the residents to know
Yes.
that we're also keeping track as we perform work. And then lastly, the Environmental Commission, which I was going to bring up in my report, but since you're talking about the services now, they had received some concerns from residents about sending this in.
Okay.
Just simply because once we generate a list, is it Oprah-able? Can the list of responses that we receive be Oprah requested? Because the borough now has a list of who may or may not
So the
have lead services. And then on top of that, and maybe Mike, Mr. McCullen, you might be able to chime in on this one, is I know in the past we've had difficulty obtaining some grant money or financing from the states other than just going through the iBank for the lead services. But with this, is there going to be a mandate that the residents have to replace them, or that the borough has to go in and replace those lead services for the residents? And the reason I ask is that these are some of the questions that are coming back as folks are looking at this. And basically, I instructed the Environmental Commission that anyone who asks, tell them to go down into their basement and fill out the form as if they were going to send it in. If they're nervous about sending it in, at least check for yourself and know what type of service you have anyway. But if you could shed some light onto those, I'd appreciate
I
it.
know, Mike, you've mentioned before about the funding, so we want to start that first before, Jeanette, you do
So you can answer, you can probably answer all.
Yeah.
I'll take a run at it.
Or I can, either one.
And go.
Okay, the first thing is, as you know, there was a law passed, and the mandate was that the services, both galvanized and lead, be replaced in approximately 10 years. There's, as I read it, and I understand it, and it's been communicated to us, so there is no indication who's going to pay. But we hear informally from one of my partners at a meeting with the commissioner at NJDP, and they've indicated that we should have folks signed up to the iBank. So at some point, when we get the list and there's a full list prepared, then the borough can make an application to the iBank. Now, how much of that's going to be grant funds versus small loans or low interest loans, it's unknown. But most of our clients are lining up. When they get the list, they're going to make an application. And the DEP has indicated that there may be funding through the infrastructure legislation. So that's what we're hoping. But right now, as I understand it, and I can refer to the borough attorney, but as I understand, there's been no indication who pays, except that there's a mandate that they be replaced in that 10-year period.
In addition to that, and I apologize for the multifaceted questions, but in the past, we've run into a little bit of trouble with those services being privately owned, in that the resident owns the service to the main. And in the past, we haven't been able to spend public money on private property. So that kind of starts to snowball the question into, does the borough have to take any action in order to take those services back as our property if we were to get iBank money or grant money to repair those? Or are we going to be ineligible for those sort of funds because we can't spend public money on private property?
Well, if I can take at least...
Come on, we're having fun.
Okay, well, I'll defer to your esteemed counselor to answer.
The answer is, we don't have the answer to that yet. So, I mean, we're in the beginning phases of figuring out what we're going to need to do. And until we know what we need to do and how we're going to do it and who's going to pay for it, we really don't have an answer to that question. But it's certainly something that'll be taken into consideration. I mean, certainly if there's a mandate from the state that those services are replaced and that the borough has to pay for it, I don't think the borough would have to take ownership to do that. They would just be making the replacement. So,
Thank you.
you got it.
And let me just, I just want to answer the other part of your operable
Yes.
question. So, yeah, the form would be operable, but we are required to create the inventory list. So that would be on the website. So the information is readily available.
Okay.
So it's not a private information, it's public information.
All right.
So one small question. So I know this hasn't been out that long, that documentation that was sent out. Do we have any idea, metric-wise, how many have been returned?
I don't have that, how many returned. Hopefully by next meeting, I'll have a rough count for that. I was letting it breathe a little bit to find out how, before I was having Sharon and Ralph report that. But hopefully we have, by the September meeting, I'll have some numbers roughly percentage-wise how much we've returned.
I can tell you that it's been a very, the response has been very good. That, because they're getting dropped off here, so people are coming up to pay the utilities and taxes, or visiting the clerk's office, and they've been dropping them off there. So we've gotten a lot in.
Okay,
Great.
good to know.
Great. And thanks for the update on the electric. I mean, we had a rough few weeks with the 100-degree temperatures, and I know a lot of people were very thankful that everything's, knock wood, kept going. So appreciate it to the electric department. Okay, next we'll move on to the Department of Public Works and Recycling. Alderman Newbeck.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Today I just have one report from the DPW. Along with all curbside trash collections and bulk collections, the DPW has the following to report. Road repair has taken place on Clay Street and West Church Street. Tree work is taking place at Janet Court Park and will be ongoing as manpower permits. Tree trimming has taken place at the Albert Avenue basketball courts. Fire hydrant painting has begun and will be ongoing until completed. Line painting is taking place throughout the town. Street sign repair and replacement is ongoing, and street sweeping is ongoing to meet our stormwater regulations. Please advise a portion of Borough Park Playground is closed pending repairs. Please avoid the area until repairs are complete. Please check channel 15 and milltownnj.org for DPW updates. And that's all I have to report tonight.
Thank you. So in the budget, we approved money to repave, start the annual repaving. And I know that we were going to try and work with the county to get a better price on that. Do we have any idea when that's going to start?
I think that's just pending.
Jeanette, do you have any?
Yeah, so we've submitted the agreement, and they also needed a resolution, which is on the meeting tonight. So that will be submitted tomorrow, and hopefully we'll have a better answer of scheduling this week.
Great, great. So hopefully we'll see some trucks around doing some much-needed
We are
repaving.
hoping within the next month.
Great, great. Thank you. All right, next we'll move on to the Department of Recreation. Councilwoman Margaret O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mayor. Since our last meeting, the Recreation Advisory Committee met on July 20th. The committee does have one opening, and we're seeking diverse membership, so we encourage residents to use the application on the website, Citizen Leadership Forum it's called, I think, to apply for that opening. During that meeting, we talked about several items, including potentially installing a kayak rack, age restricting use of Michelin Field until a barrier can be placed between the outfield and the playground, fencing in the Albert Avenue camp area, and modeling programming for fall after the successful summer programming that was added. We also talked about some capital improvements at the parks. There'll be no meeting of the Recreation Advisory Committee this month, but we'll resume meeting in September. I wanted to supplement something that Councilwoman Neubauer mentioned about a park being partially closed. I got a call from the DPW Director, Ralph Janeski, about that happening, and in general, wanted to let residents know that if a park would be closed for more than 24 hours, so if there was a repair to a piece of equipment or something like that, you can look for signage at that park or look for an announcement to come from Nixle or other means. If it's going to be closed for less than 24 hours, and one example of that was when they were doing some herbicide to kill weeds, then it would just be caution taped off for a short period of time, and that tape would be removed the next day. There's a lot of social media buzz about that caution tape being up at Michelin Field and at Ariel Hopkins Park, and it was just about herbicide being placed, and it would reopen the next day. So I hope that gives our residents a better idea of what to expect in the parks. Wanted to provide you with a report from the Recreation Department itself, from Ron Cephalon, and he said that Albert Avenue Summer Camp finished strong. Many happy campers made another successful year possible, and he thanks all of the counselors. Also mentioned, the Borough Pool has been busy all summer, and the last day for the pool is Labor Day, September 5th. This year, we offered August family passes, and it was a success, selling 20 memberships, and maybe those folks will be interested in full memberships for next year. Moving on to the library board. The library board met earlier this week. It's been a long week. No, last week, sorry. Photography contest has concluded, and the winners will be announced tomorrow night by the Friends of the Library at kind of an awards or winners reception, 6:30 in the library. The Lego Club and some other activities such as Read with a Pooch will be ongoing because they've been very successful. Another successful program of the library was summer reading. There were 140 children involved, and there will be some winners of raffle prizes that are picked in the coming days. Even though the summer reading program has concluded, the library staff, including one staff member who's present here tonight, said keep reading and keep visiting the library. On August 31st, from 10 to 2, there'll be a mobile COVID clinic that they encourage you to come out and get boosters or whatever might be needed. And there will be no library board meeting in September because we didn't manage to squeeze in a meeting off in the summer. And I'd like to thank Councilman Peretti for covering the Milltown Historic Preservation Committee so I could enjoy some vacation time. And I believe I've looked at everything, and that concludes my reports. Thank you.
So since it's a question type of night, how was, any feedback on how the summer programs went for rec? Yeah.
The summer programs, for the most part, went very well, and we'll be analyzing the combination of cost and participation in the programs. Recreation was very grateful to the library for providing some indoor space when it was particularly hot out, and I know the recreation programs such as camp were very grateful when the pool provided additional time for the campers to go there. So it was a very cooperative summer. So.
Great, that's good to hear. Yeah, thank you, Margaret. Next, we will move on to the Department of Environmental, Health, and Social Services. Councilman Rich Revelinsky.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My report for this evening, the Environmental Commission, our next council meeting, hopefully we'll be introducing our invasive species ordinance. This has been on, I don't want to say the back burner, but we've all gotten together at the Environmental Commission meeting last month, agreed that we like the way it's formatted, so we'll be introducing it hopefully in September. During our last meeting, we discussed various issues. We had questions about lead services, which we discussed briefly. An update on the Schwendeman property. Myself, Madam Mayor, and Councilman Zambrana all got together with some members of the Environmental Commission to discuss plans about going forward, and hopefully we'll be meeting on site shortly to discuss some action plan for Phase 1. In addition, the Environmental Commission is still working on their website application and information, so hopefully we'll have that up shortly. For the Revitalization Committee, plans for Milltown Day, October 1st, are ongoing and continue with bi-weekly meetings. Councilman Peretti and Councilman Zambrana have been a big help on these, trying to get our gears underneath us and make sure we're going to have a great day. So, folks, you can visit the Borough website for the forms. If you have a booth or want to have a booth there, we look forward to seeing everyone on October 1st. And a nice thing when you go to the Borough website is you will see that the Revitalization Committee webpage is now up and active as well. So, that concludes my reports for this evening. Thank you.
So the invasive species is just getting a review, right? By
Yeah, one more last professional legal review.
Yeah, one more with run past my office as well as Mr. McClelland, and we'll get it over to you guys in advance of your meeting, so that way you can take a look at it, and if you have any questions, you can get back to us.
Okay, great. Thank you. Next, we have the Department of Finance, Administration, and Planning. Council President Bill Zambrana.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My first report is submitted by Debbie Cuddy, and it's about the Senior Center. The Senior Center continues to provide a regular rotation of classes, which include walk aerobics, billiards, Spanish, Tai Chi, bingo, water aerobics, yoga, men's club, women's club, line dancing, arts and crafts, bingo, chorus, and a visit from the monthly VNA nurse. Water aerobics meets at the Borough Pool on Wednesdays and Fridays from 9 to 10 a.m. and has been extremely popular. No prior sign-up is required. Anyone who is interested could just come to the pool on those days. So far for the month of August, there have been bus trips to Boscov's on Thursday, August 4th. On Tuesday, August 9th, there was a trip scheduled to Delicious Orchards to shop for fresh fruit and vegetables. On Wednesday, August 10th, there was a representative from the Brain Injury Alliance where a presentation was given. On Wednesday, on Tuesday, which is basically tomorrow, the 16th, the Ladies Club is having a luncheon, and the VNA nurse will be also visiting from 12 to 3 p.m. On Wednesday, August 17th, there will be a presentation from the Historical Society. And on Tuesday, August 23rd, there is a bus trip scheduled to Point Pleasant. The bus will be leaving the Senior Center at 9:30 a.m. There's also an additional trip scheduled in August for a trip to the Christmas tree shop in Freehold. Just a reminder that the Senior Center is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., and then on Fridays, the Senior Center closes at 1 p.m. for summer hours. Also a reminder that seniors do not have to join the Milltown Senior Club to attend activities at the Senior Center or to arrange for a doctor's appointment or other trips, such as for food shopping or for other visits. If anyone 60 years of age or older is interested in attending any and all of the programs and need more information, please contact Debbie Cuddy at 732-296-0681 or email dcuddy@milltownborough.com. As always, additional information can always be found at milltownnj.org and navigating to the Senior Center homepage. So this is respectfully submitted by Debbie Cuddy. My second quick report is a really quick one. Ford Avenue Redevelopment Agency meeting has been canceled for tomorrow. The next meeting is scheduled for September 20th, and at that time, we'll provide any details from the meeting. And then finally, I have a short Finance Committee update. So, of course, I don't know if anyone likes that I'm going to pull out tax bills, but the most recent tax bill went out. This actually is my tax bill. And I wanted to point this out because in the tax bill, there's also a insert that went out for the first time. It gives you a breakdown of what what you're actually getting for your taxes, what kind of services you're getting, and it gives you a breakdown and lots of information that people might not have known. As I walk around town, visiting folks and knocking on doors, lots of people tell me, I can always expect the question to come, it's my taxes. My taxes are too high, my taxes are too high. But, so what I wanted to point out, and what I point out as I walk around town is that basically kept taxes flat for the last 3 years and will continue to do so. If I could make them zero, I would. That's a hard thing to ask for. But we'll continue to do our best as we go forward. One thing that folks don't understand is that you get one bill. And in this bill, there's 4 different parts to it. The biggest piece of this bill is the school tax. And so tonight, on the agenda there, we're paying bills to the tune of $6 million. $2 million of those dollars came into the borough, and they're going out of the borough, being sent to the school. So it comes in and it goes out. It's not like it stays with the borough. We're just passing it along. It's a pass-through cost. Hopefully, we'll continue this type of insert in any mailings that are prepared in the future. And again, as always, if there's any questions, you can always reach me. fzambrad@milltownborough.com. My phone number is there, and I can always answer any questions as needed. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. May I see the insert? The mayor hasn't opened her tax bill. It's due when? August 31st?
August 31st.
I will pay on August. So first of all, I can't believe how much is going on over at the senior center. That's great.
Oh, yeah.
They are hopping over there. And a lot of it is because we finally got a bus driver. And they have 2 new buses that they got a few years ago.
A couple of years ago.
So, I'm thrilled to see that there's so many services for the seniors. So that's great. And just to follow up, I wanted to say thank you to the Finance Committee and to the BA CFO for doing this because, a lot of times when you get your tax bill, myself included, you go up, here I go, what am I spending my money on? And, I'm sure they wanted to let everybody know, where it goes and hopefully how much you get for that small percentage that's for the borough. You get your garbage, your police, so many things, and and try and keep it sort of steady, but it's sort of taken for granted, and it's just a general thing that people grouse about, but you want to make sure you get as much bang for your buck as possible. So thanks for bringing that up. The other thing that I wanted to, I just wanted to follow up quickly. Oh, no, sorry, that's not my turn. Sorry, I'm out of turn. I'm just going on and on here. I will go now to the administrator report.
I just have one comment or, I can't think of the word, but, so we're still in preparations for our 3rd annual employee barbecue.
That's right.
That's going to be on September 8th. I bring it up here just because the building will be closing at 12:30 that day, so that the employees who work so hard throughout the year can have a few hours to be appreciated for their hard work.
Yep.
So that'll be held across the street, and we look forward to it.
Yeah, it's a fun
Yes,
time,
it is.
and
It's a lot of
good,
fun.
good to show how
Yeah.
much we all appreciate all the employees, and they can have some food and games, and get a little time off from work. And it's good
Yes.
that the weather will be hopefully nice
Hopefully.
that day. Great. Thank you, Jeanette. Borough Engineer, Mr. McClellan?
Yes, Madam Mayor, just a few items tonight. First item is to talk about the Hague and Detain project, which we've reported on several meetings now. Supply chain is still an issue, but we're happy to report the contractor plans to start the work after the Labor Day holiday season. So bear with us, but we're just about there. Little League field lighting has been completed and activated. We're reviewing final issues, and a partial payment was recommended for this evening. Clayton Court improvements, the plans have been submitted to DOT for approval, which was required before you advertise for bids. We will coordinate with Councilwoman Newbauer relative to a potential meeting with the Public Works Committee to go over the plans. Chestnut and Highland, the final trench restoration for the water system improvements have been completed. Cost is within the original contract amount. There's a new program, well, it may be an extension of an existing program for stormwater competitive grants and resilient stormwater utility feasibility technical assistant grants. Say that twice, right? And Jeanette has asked us to go through and attend that conference, which we will do, and come back with recommendations, possibly what's available for Milltown and what you'll qualify for. And lastly, just a report on the phase of the water system improvements. The next phase consists of replacement of the remainder existing water main on Chestnut Street, replacement of the water main on Highland from Oak Avenue to the southerly terminus, cleaning and lining existing water main on Oak Avenue and East Lawrence Street, replacement of air release valves in the water main between Elkins and North Moats, reconfiguring some services, replacement of inoperable gate valves on Elkins Lane and Highland Drive, and cleaning and lining existing water main on Highland Drive from Elkins Lane to Harrison Avenue. The design is underway, and we're moving forward, and we appreciate all the guidance that the committee gave us. So we will hopefully be reporting back with a better schedule. Looks like probably bid in the winter time, and then go out for bid, hit the ground running first thing in springtime. So that's our plan.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. So that whole water line, I was going to ask you about the timeline,
Yeah.
but once you do, that's all going to be done in that that phase?
That's correct.
And then the one that goes to North Moats, is that to, what's the benefit of doing it that way, Mike? If you could explain to the folks. But to give relief to the people that are over on that side, it's...
Yeah, what happens is that there's a existing water line goes from Elkins Lane over to Moats. And over the years, there's an air release valves that need to be maintained. That sends water to that section of the borough. And the belief is that with improving and replacing those air release valves, we'll be able to get better water in that direction, keep pressures up in that section of the borough.
Thank you. And the lights will be ready for fall hall?
Yes, they're on now. I think there's testing has to be done for the lighting levels. It has to be done, submitted before they can be used.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions for the engineer? Borough Attorney, Mr. Vignola?
Nothing on my end. I was very excited about the invasive species ordinance, but since I get to talk last, everything kind of comes out before.
I know, Zach. We'll try and save some for you next.
Thanks.
Now it goes back to the mayor. Thank you all for everything that you've done over the summer. I just wanted to clarify, we were talking about the salary policy, and I quickly chimed in as to the reason for keeping it on there, but I sort of was thinking about it. I mean, this isn't a dictatorship here. It was, I am the head of the Personnel Committee, and we were split on, some people were against giving an increase, some people were for an increase, some people were on the fence. So the reason that I chimed in to do that was because as the head of the personnel, I break the ties and have the final decision. So if you don't like it, it's me that made the decision. So it was to thank the council, and as I said before, to try and be fair and keep it linked with the rest of the employees. But yeah, I was remiss in not mentioning that earlier. But I look forward to the employee party. I'm glad to see so many of our programs have been thriving. It's great to drive by the pool and see so many people in there during the hot day and have, a good turnout at preteen night and all of that. So I thank everybody for all that they're doing for the borough. Much appreciated. And with that, I will go to old business. Does any member of the council have any old business to bring before us this evening? Hearing none, I'll close old business and move on to new business. Does any member of the council have any new business to bring before us this evening? Hearing none, I'll move on to audience comments. The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring the council's attention their concerns or comments. The council will respect the public's time by refraining any comment until the speaker has finished. It should be further noted that the public comment portion of our meeting is not structured as a question and answer session. If a member of the public has specific questions they seek answers to, an appointment can be made with the appropriate office. Please state your name and address for the record when you come to the podium. Good evening.
Good evening. Hi, I'm Barbara Glazeski, 226 Highland Drive.
And Josephine Yadavaya, 227 Highland Drive.
And we want to make sure that what we heard at the last meeting, that our section of Highland Drive that's been ignored in the last couple of rounds is going to have the water mains addressed so that we can finally have, a quality of water. And we just wanted to hear it because we saw the sign that said Highland Drive and we got all excited and took pictures, and it wasn't Highland Drive after all, so.
It was a
I mean,
teaser.
I'm not asking a question, I'm just here asking.
No, I know.
Could we
So,
possibly hear it again?
The borough engineer maybe can answer that.
It's in the next phase.
It is.
That's
Okay.
right, I just reported on that, that's right.
Well,
We're
you
designing
went
now.
a little speedy for my.
Yeah, we didn't hear our section. Yeah, we've been waiting.
South of,
Yeah.
north of, east,
Yeah.
west, it was a little bit, yeah, but thank you.
So we're the Van Loo to Chestnut, or Oak to Chestnut.
That loop around is gonna be
Yes.
replaced, actually, not lined, but replaced.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what happened, was the line was in such bad shape, as you know, there's a large break
Oh,
history.
no.
So, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why it had to be replaced, was put into the other phase.
Wonderful.
And
Thank
is
you.
there an order yet?
The,
An
All
order
those,
of-
all those items I
Councilman
read
Peretti
earlier
has
are included.
utilities.
No, I understand they're included. Is there an order of which section gets done first? Is that?
It's all in one construction contract, which one will be done first? We haven't, we'll meet with the committee probably before it goes out to bid and decide.
Okay.
Mike, what's the
Councilman Craig.
duration of that construction
Probably
project
about, I
estimated?
would say probably 6 months. With the full job, not just Highland Drive.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's very, very
yeah, so
encouraging.
I know Mike was saying in the winter, we'll consolidate, our utilities committee will meeting, the bid, we'll prepare it to go out, send out the bid to get the contractors to, award the contract in the winter, and then beginning of the year 2023 is when we should be seeing shovels in the ground.
Perfect.
Perfect,
Have you
thank
seen
you.
any improvement since the Chestnut? None.
We have, I don't know if you want to tell them that.
No, in fact, what made me very sad is my next door neighbors, a lovely young couple with a baby, are leaving town because he's gotten too big to wash him in the filtered water in the sink, which made me
In the
really very
kitchen.
sad. He would have come tonight, but they're in the process of having the inspection of the new house.
So we appreciate your patience. I know that, you folks reach out to the committee, and we communicate that to the engineer and get in the plan. And, while we are very thankful to get all of this grant money from the state, otherwise we may not have even gotten to where we are now. So we have the $1 million that we spent, or 750, we have a few others, so that allows us to make these plans to keep going ahead. So I'm happy to hear that, we're going to be on it
We are
soon.
too.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
But it must have been
Thank you to the council
very
also.
disappointing when you see the sign, and
Oh,
especially
you don't
when
know
my
how
name's on the top
excited
of
we
the.
were.
We have
I took a
pictures.
picture and
We
sent
have-
it to
yeah,
my
we have-
daughter. I said, finally.
And we have pictures of what's going on in our tanks, and it's
Yeah.
not
Super,
nice.
it was close, but not quite. And I guess, in the future, it would be great if we could have done everything all at once.
We can save
but-
money, use the sign again. I work for the state, I'm always. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? no other audience comments, we will close that and move on to council comments. Does any member of the council have any final comments?
Just one, Madam Mayor, I have my property tax
Good.
flyer here, the political
You're a good
flyer.
citizen.
I'm curious, the home valued at 163,207, that's assessed value,
Assessed value.
which is roughly about half of the retail value that we're seeing these days, is
I
it not?
think it's even less than that.
Or-
Yeah. So well, hopefully, to your point about that, we'll be discussing maybe revaluation in the near future for the town.
Yeah, because I look at this and say, wow, 163,000 is paying 10 grand in
But
taxes.
then you'll
and
also, but you'll
I'm at
also know the
15,
tax, yeah,
so-
but you'll also know the tax rate.
Yeah.
So, and they coincide. So the higher the tax rate, usually the lower the valuations compared to actual valuation, you know.
So is that on the agenda for the future? Has that been discussed with finance, that we're going to be doing a revaluation?
It's been out there. The first step was to get the tax maps completed, which they have recently been done in the last 6 months, have been finalized by the state. So once that happens, then we're ready to discuss a revaluation.
Okay. That's all I have.
And just because evaluations change, doesn't mean the taxes, you know, so
No.
if your valuation doubles, your taxes aren't gonna double. That's a general
correct. Yes, thank you.
misconception, right? It stays, the rate changes.
The rate will go lower, and the standard rule of thumb is that when you do a revaluation, taxes, a third of the properties will stay the same, a third will go down, a third may go up. But it's not gonna double or triple, or it's not gonna be anything like that.
That tends to scare people, but
Yes,
that's not
that's,
the case. Right. Good. Anyone else?
And Madam Mayor, just to let you know, looking at the schedule at our next meeting, due to a work commitment, I don't think I will be at the next meeting.
Well, we'll see you in the second half of
Exactly.
September.
So it's just in the minutes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? All right, seeing no further comments, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion by Councilman Potter, second by Councilwoman O'Donnell. All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your summer.
You're on my list. I appreciate it.
I don't know if you noticed,